Okay, good morning to all of you. Today we begin the first chapter in statistics. Please take your book to chapter number 1 of statistics, all of you. The introduction. Why economics? You have perhaps already had economics as a subject for your earlier classes at school. You might have been told that this subject is mainly around what Alfred Marshall, who is one of the founders of modern economics, called the study of man in the ordinary business of life. Now let us understand what this means. When you buy goods, you may want to satisfy your own personal needs or those of your family, or also those of any other person to whom you want to make a gift, and you are called a consumer. When you sell a good to make a profit for yourself, you may be a shopkeeper, you are called a seller. When you produce goods, you may be either a farmer or a manufacturing company or provide services. You may be a doctor, a porter, a taxi driver, or a transporter of goods. You are called a producer. So here, children, he is trying to bring out the difference between a consumer who is a seller, who could be a seller, who could be a producer. When you are in a job working for some other person and you get paid for it, you may be employed by somebody who pays you your wages or a salary. So what would you be called? You would be called an employee. When you employ somebody, when you give them a wage, you are called an employer. So in all these cases, you will be called gainfully employed in an economic activity. In other words, you are involved in some economic activity or the other. Now, economic activities are ones that are undertaken for monetary gain. Any activity done for monetary gain, in other words, for money. This is what economists mean by ordinary business of life. So ordinary business of life is when a person goes about doing his activity, doing his job for some monetary benefits. Then this is termed in economics as an ordinary business of life. We cannot get something for nothing. If you ever heard the story of Aladdin and his magic lamp, you would agree that Aladdin was a lucky guy. Whenever and whatever he wanted, he just had to rub his magic lamp and a genie would appear to fulfill his wish. When he wanted a palace to live in, the genie instantly made one for him. When he wanted expensive gifts to bring to the king, when asking for his daughter's hand, he got them at the bat of an eyelid. In real life, we cannot be as lucky as Aladdin. Though like him, we have unlimited wants. We do not have a magic lamp. We do not have a magic lamp. So take for example, the pocket money which you get to spend. If you had more of it, then you would have purchased almost all the things which you wanted. But since your pocket money is limited, what do you have to do? You have to choose only those things that you want the most. And this is a basic teaching of economics. Scarcity, we learned also in economics. Scarcity is the root of all economic problems. Had there been no scarcity, there would have been no economic problem. And you would not have studied economics either. In our daily life, we face various forms of scarcity. Examples are the long queues at railway booking counters, crowded buses and trains, shortage of essential commodities, the rush to get a ticket to watch a new film, etc., are all manifestations of scarcity. This is all because of scarcities. We face scarcity because the things that satisfy our wants are limited in availability. Can you think of any more examples which gives you instances of scarcity? Anything that you need and everything that is in limitation, it is because of it being scarce or because of scarcity. The resources which the producers have are limited and also have alternate uses. What is the meaning of alternate uses? I already gave you this example while we were doing economics, the chapter, alternate uses. The goods can be used for more than one purpose. And if you remember, the class which I was teaching economics, scarcity, the problem or choice of what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Remember, it was because of the scarcity of goods and services, and also because of the alternate uses. That is, the goods can be put to more than one use. And I had given you an example of, let's say, milk in quota. The amount of milk coming into quota is limited. Now, out of that limit of milk which we have, it has to be decided how much is to be sent for distribution for public, that is for the daily use, how much is to be kept away for making milk sweets, how much is to be kept away for making, let's say, curds. Okay, so the same product is milk, but it is being put to various uses. You can make cottage cheese, which is paneer, butter, so many uses milk is being used for. So as it is, milk is limited. From this limit, we put aside a part of that for different uses. And this is what it means by alternate uses. Since goods are being put to alternate uses, already with the scarcity which we have or the limitations which we have, we are taking away some more part for different activities, for different uses. That is what it is called. Scarcity along with alternate uses makes a person want to choose what to do with what he has. Take the case of food that you eat every day. It satisfies your want of nourishment. Farmers employed in agriculture raise crops that produce your food. At any point of time, the resources in agriculture like land, labor, water, fertilizers, etc. are given. All these resources also have an alternate use. The same resources can be used in the production of non-food crops such as rubber, cotton, jute, etc. Thus, alternative uses of resources give rise to the problem of choice between different commodities. So which commodity are you going to produce? Those food crops which are for which we eat every day that satisfies us, or should we go and grow such crops which are not used for food but for use for like cash crops like rubber, cotton, jute, etc. Where to put our resources? So thus alternate uses of resources, they give rise to the problem of choice between different commodities that can be produced by these resources. Consumption, production, and distribution. If you thought about it, you might have realized that economics involves the study of man engaged in economic activities of various kinds. For this, you need to know reliable facts about all the diverse economic activities like production, consumption, and distribution. Economics is often discussed in three parts: consumption, production, and distribution. We want to know how the consumer decides, given his income and many alternative goods to choose from. What to buy when he knows the prices. This is the study of consumption. We also want to know how the producer similarly chooses what kind and how to produce for the market. And this is the study of production. Finally, we want to know how the national income or the total income arising from what we have or what has been produced in the country, which is normally called the gross domestic product or the GDP, how it is distributed through wages and salaries, profits and interest. We will leave aside here income from international trade and investment. And this is called the study of distribution. Besides these three conventional divisions of the study of economics, about which we want to know all the facts, modern economics, excuse me, has to include some of the basic problems facing the country for special studies. For example, you might want to know why or to what extent some households in our society have the capacity to earn much more than others. You may want to know how many people in the country are really poor, how many are middle class, how many are relatively rich, and so on. You may want to know how many are illiterate, who will not get jobs requiring education, how many are highly educated and will have the best job opportunities, and so on. In other words, you may want to know more facts in terms of numbers that would answer your questions about poverty and disparity in society, the inequalities in society. If you do not like the continuance of poverty and the gross disparity and want to do something about the ills of the society, you will need to know the facts about all these things before you can ask for appropriate actions by the government. So if there is any problem which is disturbing you and you want to solve it, you must first get to know about the facts of the problems by gathering numbers, by gathering data regarding this, and then you can ask for appropriate actions stating facts and figures from the government. If you know the facts, it may also be possible to plan your own life better. Similarly, you hear of, some of you may even have experienced disasters like the tsunami, the earthquakes, the bird flu, dangers threatening our country, and so on, that affect man's ordinary business of life enormously. Economists can look at these things provided they know how to collect and put together the facts about what these disasters cost systematically and correctly. So economists and statisticians, they go around collecting data regarding to all these disparities, regarding all these disasters which could be happening, and when they have the facts and the figures with them, then it makes it easier for them to know how to go about to tackle or to solve the following problem. You may perhaps think about it and ask yourselves whether it is right that modern economics now includes learning the basic skills involved in making useful studies for measuring poverty, how incomes are distributed, how earning opportunities are related to your education, how environmental disasters affect our lives, and so on. So obviously, if you think along these lines, you will also appreciate why we needed statistics, which is the study of numbers relating to selected facts in a systematic form, to be added to all modern courses of modern economies or modern economics. So now you would agree with the following definition of economics that many economists use. And the definition is: economics is the study of how people and society choose to employ scarce resources that could have alternate uses in order to produce various commodities that satisfy their wants and to distribute them for consumption among the various persons and groups in the society. So it's a complete definition which states that it is a study. First of all, we study how are people and society choosing to employ, to use the scarce resources which are with us. Besides being scarce, they also have alternate uses which make them still more scarce. How to produce various commodities which will satisfy their wants. After that, how to distribute them for consumption among the various persons and group in society. This is what economics is all about. It is the study of how to use our scarce resources wisely and to the best possible use. Okay, we will stop till here and continue the chapter tomorrow at the same time, same place.